please join me in welcoming Bryan to the stage.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's amazing to be here with you all today in central London, continuing our conversation about the marketer and the machine and the opportunity that we have to take advantage of this next wave of innovation. And so over the course of the next 45 minutes, we've got a power-packed agenda. We're going to share the mission and vision of the Movable Ink product suite and talk about this new kind of journey that's powered by the machine, but controlled by you, the marketer. And of course, it wouldn't be a product keynote without product announcements, live demos, and my favorite part, which is the customer showcase with two amazing customers. You're going to hear in a video from Marissa Ryan, the Director of CRM for ESPN, as well as Sarah Rasmussen, the Chief Innovation Officer from Land's End. So I can't wait for you to hear about how they're using Movable Ink to transform their business and their marketing with automation and artificial intelligence. But before we dive into all this, I just want to stop and say thank you to all of our customers here in the room. Thank you for your business. All of our partners and sponsors out there, appreciate your partnership and your sponsorship today, because without all of you, none of this is possible. And if you look at the stats here on the screen, these are the engagements, the personalized experiences that we've been driving together over the last 12 months. Amazing volume of interactions that we help bring to life with all of you. And all of these features, like the mobile SDK, block-level attribution reporting, the improved campaign workflows, guess what? Those are your feature requests. You've asked us to build these things, we've heard your feedback, and we've put it in the product. And a lot of these things we're going to show you live today in the software. So it's our job to listen to your feedback and put it in the product, but it's also our job to think about the future. And as Vivek said this morning, we are experiencing the next wave of innovation of marketing. The 90s was about the dot-com boom and database marketing. In the early 2000s, companies like ExactTarget came into the market, and you could send emails really fast. And then we all got our phones, and SMS and push and social exploded. Last decade, it was about cloud and cloud-native platforms. Right now, as I stand in front of all of you, I'm confident the next wave of innovation will be AI models. That's right, I'll say it again, AI models. Machine learning models, deep learning models, large language learning models, more models than I can list here on the screen. And at Movable Ink, we've been building these models for quite a long time. We announced DaVinci last year, and today I'm going to roll out our 4 model classes to you and explain to you exactly how this works. And so we've got dozens of customers live on these AI models, so we think we're in a pretty good position to ask you guys this question today. Who can better understand the tastes and preferences of your customer? The marketer or the machine? Who can better engage with the customer with the right content at the right time and personalize every piece of content to drive lift in clicks, lift in conversions and revenue? Well, our data tells us that just about every time the marketer outperforms, the machine outperforms the marketer. And that's the opportunity. That's the opportunity that we have as marketers to create a new kind of journey. A journey that is powered by the machine, but controlled by you, the marketer. And so I'm going to explain this concept in a very simple term, the funnel. And you see at the bottom here, we've got this reinforcement journey. So I want you guys to raise your hand if you run a journey builder or a journey optimizer in your marketing stack. You guys actively running journeys today? Okay, some of you? Yep. Journeys are powerful because you get a piece of data, an abandoned cart, a purchase event. Somebody books a ticket on your airline. They book a hotel. They sign up for your subscription. They sign up for your loyalty program or your credit card. You have that piece of data and you put that customer on a 15 or a 30 or a 45-day journey, and you know exactly what to say to that customer. You know how to be relevant. But what about the rest of your customers? Because there's only about, 3%, 5% of your customers that are on one of these journeys. 95% of your list are getting, likely, a generic piece of content every day. And these customers only have 1 or 2 records of data. They haven't engaged in your website in 6 months. You don't have the data from which to make these decisions and personalize on. And so what we're building at Movable Ink is a customer lifetime journey where AI models are building a relationship with the customer. So algorithms are tuned not to keep your attention, like social media, but to build relationships. And how do you build a relationship with your customers? By having a conversation. And where are you having conversations with your customers every day? In your emails, with content. Content is the center of what we think is this new customer lifetime journey, where we're optimizing subject lines and hero images and body copy and secondary images to drive lift and to create a better customer experience, where customers are getting personalized content at scale driven by these AI models. And so at Movable Inc., we're building a platform that helps you personalize every touch point, every engagement through automation and artificial intelligence. And we power 3 types of personalization. You can see the 3 types in the middle of the slide. Contextual personalization. We know the time. We know the weather. We have context. Behavioral personalization. We're calling your API. You're streaming us data or sending us CSV files. We understand your customer's behavior and render content based on that. And finally, AI model personalization. And all of this technology, our 2 products, Studio and DaVinci, run in and alongside the rest of your marketing stack. Movable Inc. integrates with everyone. We take your marketing campaigns and we make them better. And so I'm going to start off by talking about Movable Inc. Studio, which likely most of you here in the audience are using every day. So Movable Inc. Studio is our product that helps you automatically generate content at scale through a layered image technology, where every layer of an image can connect to a piece of data, real-time data, that is then built into a composite image for every customer at open time and can be used in email, in SMS, in push messages, in-app messages, in the app inbox. So how does this work? Well, I'll start with a simple example of the first layer of an image, which is a headline based on search behavior, behavioral personalization. We have the tag on the website. We know what their search behavior is. Geo-targeting. We have context, so contextual personalization. And then it's all stylized for your brand guidelines. Then there's a button with a call to action, powered by Movable Inc. A/B testing. And then you see this limited time offer. That's coming from your homegrown API. So we're calling your API at open time. Then there's a ratings and review little icon going through one of our partner integrations. And then finally, a lifestyle image that's powered by a CSV file that you bring over from your CRM or your ESP. And the results are wonderful. They're phenomenal. Sophia, Mark, everyone sees a different experience, a different call to action, a different button, a different offer. And so Movable Inc. Studio is helping our customers personalize this content at open time across all of these channels. And I'm excited to share with you 2 new big innovations that are now live inside of Studio. So our first announcement we want to share with you is our universal data activation. So this allows you to connect your data sources into Movable Inc. in a whole new way, starting with our customer data API. So I gave the example of us calling your homegrown API. Now we can do the opposite. We stand up an API and you can stream data to us. And so what that enables is an entire ecosystem of CDPs and ESPs and loyalty systems. Snowflake, Databricks, GCP, Amazon Redshift, any system that can stream data, we can now take it. And we'll hold that behavioral data or any data for 30 days. So there's a whole and this is a sampling, by the way, of the platforms that are live. Any platform that can stream data can now support the customer data API. And so what kind of data can you stream to Movable Inc.? Anything you'd like. So it's beyond just 5 events, which we used to have 5 events. You might know that limitation. It's now extensible, so you can create custom events for anything. So if you're in the travel business, you might want to send us a booking event. If you're a subscription business, like a music streaming app, you might want to send us data about who's listening to what music. So think about the extensibility now of Movable Inc. with the new universal data activations. This is live in your accounts, and so if you haven't set it up, you might want to go back to the office and check this out tomorrow. We've also been building around mobile with our new enhanced mobile suite. Now, SMS came out a few months ago. We've had a lot of adoption on this technology. And when you saw that image for Cheryl and Mark, you probably thought email. It's probably your first thought. But it also works in SMS. So why not send a link to your customers in the SMS. And if they've put your short code or long code in their contacts, then they might see an image like this when they open your text message, which is like getting an MMS for the price of an SMS. We've also built a mobile SDK. So if you have a mobile app, you can install our SDK in your app. That gives us that behavioral data we've been talking about, not just from your website, but from your app. It gives you deep linking. So if you ever want to enable deep linking from an email into a specific page in your app, the SDK makes that possible. And it comes with mobile attribution reporting, so you can see how your content is performing in your in-app messages or your push messages. And then finally, all this works across these digital channels that we've just laid out. So this is all live. This is all available. You can get this turned on in your account. If you don't have this, talk to your account representative, and they can help you get this set up and configured. So you guys ready to hear about ESPN and their live use case? Yeah, so we're going to show you a quick film. Let's roll the film.
ESPN's mission is to serve sports fans anytime, anywhere. In an ever-changing consumption landscape, this continues to ring true today. I'm Marissa Ryan, and I have the pleasure of leading our CRM team at ESPN. As a marketing department, we have 5 core goals. The first would be deepening brand love. The second, maximizing the power of live sports. Third, driving female audience growth. Fourth, learning, connecting, and serving youth. And the 5th, growing ESPN+. We were looking for a solution that would allow us to scale our content generation, activate data in real time, and unify experiences across touchpoints with omni-channel personalization. By partnering with Movable Inc., ESPN isn't just showing up in your inbox, we're showing up with a purpose. And as such, we see strong engagement while mitigating opt-outs and driving lift across our core KPIs. We've seen record viewership and digital activity for ESPN in fiscal year 2022. We know email had a direct lift on both. Overall, we've seen 6.5 million minutes lifted on linear and 259 million incremental minutes online, which is huge for our business. When I think about Movable Inc.'s product roadmap and how it aligns to our business objectives around driving new fans and retaining current ones, the team can't help but get excited for how we continue to partner together as we usher in a new era at ESPN. That comes from using Movable Inc. across more touch points and putting a spotlight on ESPN+. There's a reason we've been partnering with Movable Inc. for 10 years now. It's a brilliant partnership producing results.
Video, and yeah. When you talk to Marissa, she'll tell you that ESPN is going through a complete business transformation. They are more than a TV network. They're a mobile app. They're a desktop app. They're an app on your television. I have ESPN Plus, and I'm running it on my phone, all my televisions at home, and my desktop. And you can see all the amazing content providers they have partnerships with. Now, there is one content provider on this slide that is unique. It is different from the rest of the content providers at ESPN, and that is the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And the reason why it's different is because the UFC has pay-per-view events. These big events like this fight that you see here, the Nunes-Aldana championship fight. Actually, Nunes won that fight this summer. And so in order to get the fight, you have to subscribe to ESPN Plus. It's the #1 driver of ESPN Plus subscriptions around the world. And these fight cards that you see here are all powered by Movable Inc. There's a Salesforce Marketing Cloud template with a little AMP script in the top. And all these are calling out to ESPN's homegrown API. Because fighters get hurt. They come on and off cards. And these fights are happening every week. So you have the template set up, and we're dynamically building the image, everything about the fighters and the videos. It's all being built dynamically in real time. And we're going to show you a live demo of how ESPN is building these experiences in studio across email, push, and in-app. Please welcome to the stage Adam Farquharson. Adam?
Hello everyone, good afternoon. For this part of the product keynote, I'm lucky enough to be able to showcase the magic of Movable Ink Studio using broadcasting giant and 10-year Movable Ink client, ESPN. Travel back in time with me to a week before their biggest pay-per-view event of the year. So let's see this from a customer perspective. Bryan being the customer. He's logged into ESPN.com. He's navigating through the website. He's interested in MMA, so he clicks through on MMA. Meanwhile, Movable Ink is capturing all of this real-time behavioral data. He goes through to the Fight Center, and he can see the fight card for UFC 293. He sees the headline fight between Adenza and Strickland, but that's not what Bryan's interested in. Bryan's interested in Tyson Pedro. Tyson Pedro's dad was one of the first Australian cage fighters. He's got an undefeated record. Why wouldn't he be interested? So he clicks through on his profile. Meanwhile, Movable Ink is seeing exactly what Bryan is interested in, and what he's not. Now, Bryan's busy creating content for you guys over at Think Summit EMEA, so he can't look at ESPN.com. He exits the site. Let me show you the Movable Ink journey that is built in Studio to reactivate Bryan. So when you first land in Movable Ink Studio, you'll notice our brand new navigation bar on the left-hand side, coming in January next year. We've got the Content tab, which has got our campaigns, our data with our data sources and integrations, our Performance tab. But at the moment, I'm going to show you how we map a real-time API into Movable Ink. So jumping into the Data tab, into Data Sources, we can see here that we've got our data source, UFC event by game ID. I'm going to edit that API right now. So we've got our API endpoint here, and we've got our game ID. That's the thing that's going to change on a regular basis based upon the match that we're looking to show. So jumping through to the data field section, I can see my JSON response. I can navigate through that one and see some of the fields that are available to me in that API response. You don't have to be technical to be able to use this section of the platform. It's click and add to your content. So here you'll see I've mapped the fighter image, the first name, the last name, the height, the weight. And as Bryan mentioned, if this changes, no worries. You don't have to scramble your marketing teams. It's all good to go because Movable Ink is updating in real time. So if I close down this data source, let me show you how we actually activate that data within Studio. So jumping across to our Campaigns tab, you'll see that I've already got a campaign here set up for UFC 293. So I'm going to edit that campaign. And you'll see all of the blocks that I've created previously. So that's the countdown timer, the event details, the tail of the tape, which is powered by that API. And if I jump into this block here, you'll see our Studio interface for the first time. Hopefully many of you have seen this before. The first thing you should notice is that we've got our data source that I just set up in the top right-hand side here, ready to utilize that real-time data that I just mapped in. So if I double-click on this dynamic image, we can map that to the fighter image. We've got the name of the fighter, the form of the fighter, and then we've got the first name data being pulled in from their ESP. So this is already that dynamic composite image that Bryan showed you in the keynote. So let's save this out. We're ready to actually preview this from a customer perspective. So if I preview this email here, you'll see the generic experience that most customers would see, and that's Adenza against Strickland. It's got the live fight card in there, so if either of those drop out, we've got the latest content. But this personalization is not going to be enough. They've already got all of Bryan's viewing data, so let's actually show you how that looks. So if I type in Bryan's unique identifier, we'll actually see the variation specifically for Bryan, and that's his favorite fighter, Tyson Pedro, against Tolkaj. It's got his unbeaten record in there, and it's got a countdown timer to that fight itself. So it's already adding that urgency. But that urgency is not enough for Bryan. He's got flights to catch. He's not looking at his personal email. So let's look at activating him through another channel. That's in-app messaging. So inside Studio, we've got different tabs for the different channels. So I'm going to jump into in-app messaging now and show you how easy it is to build content across channels inside Movable Ink Studio. So you just saw me build that dynamic image for email. This is how similar it is for Rich Push. You'll notice this is exactly the same interface. All I've done is move some of those assets around, change some of the sizing. I've still got my dynamic image. I've still got my data source in the top right. So it's really just a case of reusing assets across channels, how it should be from an easy marketing perspective. So I've set up my personalized in-app message with the name of this fighter, the fight type, the countdown to this fight itself. And I need to preview this for you from a customer perspective. But I haven't, actually, luckily Bryan's left his phone up here, so I can just use that to show you. So looking at Bryan's phone, he's got a couple of missed calls from his wife, Michelle. Against my better judgment, I'm just going to jump into his phone instead. And you can see there's a notification here on the ESPN app. Bryan loves the latest content. He sees that red dot and he's straight in there. So we jump into the app, And the latest content we see is this in-app message that we've just built inside Movable Link, showing his favorite fighter, Tyson Pedro, and a countdown to the fight. Now, he's pretty interested in this content, but he's at his boarding gate, so he's not able to actually buy this right now. He exits that, and then he's back into the app. Now, there is, luckily for us, another method of contacting Bryan, and that's push messaging. So if I click on the push tab in Movable Link, similar to the last phase that I just showed you, where we're just reusing assets. We're able to click here, resize that based upon the actual assets we want to create for that push notification. We've still got a dynamic image, we've still got our data sources. I'll save that out, we're good to go. That took less than 2 minutes to be able to create. And let's preview this one on Bryan's phone. So you can see his latest push notification here. Bryan, don't miss UFC 293, and that's his favorite fighter at the bottom. That's Tyson Pedro, based upon that browsing data that we had collected on the website. It's a little bit small though, so let's click through and see that full variation. It's got a countdown time to the fight. Bryan's flight's just landed, he's ready to purchase. He clicks through, he buys the fight, he uses Apple Pay, and he's all set to go. That's the magic of Movable Link Studio across channels. Thanks very much. Over to you, Bryan.
Good job. That's pretty amazing to see that live. Yeah, every 2 weeks, these fights are happening, and ESPN is driving their business growth using Studio. So now we're going to shift gears and talk about DaVinci. And as Vivek said in the opening keynote, DaVinci is our enterprise AI platform. And I want to emphasize the enterprise nature of what we're building. Our AI models are trained exclusively on your data. We have built these models with privacy, security, and trust at the top of our list. They're GDPR compliant, SOC 2 Type 2 compliant, ISO certified. So you know that the things we're doing are all only for you and will never intermingle your data with another customer's data or scrape data off the internet and put them into our AI models. So DaVinci is our human-centered marketing product powered by AI that's optimized to drive revenue lift. How does it drive lift? It builds relationships. It experiments. It finds out what product categories you haven't purchased in that you might be interested in. It takes the best performing content and puts that content and builds a unique email for every customer. On top of the AI models is the streamlined workflow you see here on the right-hand side of the screen. As Lindsay said this morning from Victoria's Secret, it eliminates a tremendous amount of manual work. And it optimizes your hero banners, your subject lines, your send time, and your frequency. And we send these emails through your ESP and get back the tracking events, the opens, the clicks, the conversions. That's what trains the model. It is centered around the content. So you get creative feedback loops from the AI models that you can't get anywhere else. And every day we're running an experiment. Every day we're testing to see what content wins. And we call this approach an ensemble model approach with multiple models working at once. It uses this advanced math. And this morning, Vivek mentioned this idea of a 3D world. Has anybody here flown to Tokyo? Yeah, a few of you. I flew to Tokyo from Chicago. I didn't go across the Pacific Ocean. I went over the North Pole because we live in a three-dimensional world, and DaVinci is three-dimensional. It makes connections through the testing algorithms to figure out what works for each subscriber. And our first model that I'm going to unpack for you is our vision model, which uses deep learning technology to read images and read copy. So as you upload your images and your copy into DaVinci, our vision model scans it and tags it with metadata at a level that no human could ever tag. It understands the fabrics. It understands the price. It understands colors, and you don't have to give it your product catalog. The AI understands it because the vision models are reading these things and tagging this. And the other valuable part of this vision model is you don't have to train your data. What if you have content that just lives for 3 days? The AI models have to be trained, but if you don't have time to train them, the vision model will train it using this metadata, and you'll perform better from day one using DaVinci. Our next model is our generation models, a set of models that we're using to generate subject lines and generate reports. So I'm going to explain to you how we're approaching subject line generation. We think it's pretty unique because we believe every subject line should be tied to the hero image or a secondary image, to a piece of content. So you upload your image, the marketer inputs their subject line, and then the AI creates dozens of subject lines based on tone and emotion. And every image will have all these subject lines, and you can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you get a thumbs down, that feeds back the loop to the AI and it learns. That's maybe not part of your brand. And then it will be able to send this piece of content multiple times to the same customer, assuming they haven't opened or clicked, because you really want to reuse that best performing content, because it's that best performing content that drives lift and clicks and lift and conversions. The next model is our insights model. These are the models around content and around your customer. I'm going to deep dive on the customer models here. We also have some of the content reports. You saw those earlier today. But we model your customer. What products do they have the tastes and preferences for? How do they respond to offers? Do they respond to urgency? Do they respond to nostalgia? Or do they respond to something else? And then, of course, how much money is the customer spending? That's an important thing that DaVinci understands, because we know you have a number to hit, you have to make your month, you have to make your quarter, and it's optimizing to help build that relationship so more customers spend more money through your email program. So these are the models that we have running here in production. And the last model is our prediction model. So the generation model, the insights model, and the vision model all feed the prediction model. This is the model that decides which subject line to put in front of Bryan. On Monday, I get the 30% off. On Tuesday, I get shop new arrivals. That's all being decided not by your content calendar, but by the AI. This is what drives revenue lift for our customers that are using DaVinci. So how does this work? Well, we ask you to upload a little bit of history data to train the models up front. So we want your historical business results loaded in DaVinci. We build the customer facet models. We model the content. And then we integrate to Salesforce, Oracle, Cheetah Digital, Acoustic, and Cordial. And I'm excited to announce today that right now we are building integrations into Adobe and into Braze. And there'll be more, but these are the ones we're working on right now. So if you're interested in DaVinci and you're on one of those 7 ESPs, those are the ones that we've got opportunities right now to sign up and try that technology. And then over the course of the next 12 months, we're going to be building to everybody. So we're very, very excited about that. So we're going to talk about Land's End, an iconic retailer that's doing business all over the world. In fact, I think the Land's End EMEA team is here in the room today. They are in a pilot for DaVinci right now. So to hear more about Land's End and hear from Sarah, let's roll the film.
The problem with segmentation at scale is execution at scale. And what we were seeing is really some declining performance in opens, and we knew that personalization was the right approach, but we just needed to find somebody who could help us get to that point where we could scale, and DaVinci fit that mold nicely. As a geek, obviously, being kind of AI-based, if you will, that we could rely on a machine to get the message more right for our customer, but then also the ability to just, plug in hundreds of assets into a bank, if you will, and to spit out the best right customer at the right time. Lots of times, marketers and merchants say, this is who I'm going to sell this to, and I'm going to sell it to them in March. A great example of this is raincoats. So we sell raincoats basically in February and March. It's when we put them in our catalogs. It's when traditionally we push them in front of customers. But thanks to DaVinci, we have said, you know what, we still see some traction on this raincoat, and we still have inventory. We can continue to keep this in the bank of assets, and that will organically and correctly flow out to the customer, giving us off-season opportunity. It's like, what I thought was the hard end of raincoats is actually something that can continue well through May. I just get very excited about where AI is going in the practical application of AI in a marketing organization, in a retail organization. but how is it how we talk to our customers on a day-to-day basis? How is it our ability to go to market rapidly in other countries? Many, many different permutations that bring them to me. I'm excited. I want to learn more. As long as I can keep delivering relevancy to you and however you're choosing to shop with us, you're going to keep coming back. I am Sarah Rasmussen, and I am the Chief Innovation Officer for Land's End.
So Land's End tagline is get comfy, so I got comfy. I'm wearing Land's End head to toe. In fact, I wore this to a party a few weekends ago, and all my neighbors were like, Bryan, you're so fashionable. And I said, well, I'm wearing Land's End, and it's very comfy, it's soft. But as we heard from Sarah in the video, they were stuck. They were stuck over-messaging their customers, trying to use segmentation, but they didn't have the data to drive true personalization. And so they have been using DaVinci to drive the next level of personalization and lift for their email program. And they've driven this transformation by shifting to content like this. This editorial content, this beautifully designed imagery, each one tied to multiple subject lines. And you can see they have a hero story, multiple subject lines. Of course, there's still sale banners. There's sales that happen all the time. It's just a little more muted in their program. And the result is that customers are receiving unique and individualized emails for them every day, all throughout the day, through DaVinci. And the results speak for themselves. The North American business unit is experiencing phenomenal business results. You can see the lift in clicks, lift in conversions, and the lift in revenue. And to show you how this product works, please welcome to the stage Craig Clayton. Craig?
Thank you, Bryan. Short legs, so it takes a little bit longer to get up here than the rest of them. I'm thrilled to be giving you all a demo of DaVinci today. But before I do that, I want to share an email with you all. So this is an email to my left that I received from Land's End in the past week. It's an email about shorts in the UK in October, which probably sounds like the intern screwed up, right? But here's the thing. While every other retailer has been sending me emails about boots and knitwear and coats, which makes total sense, this email is the most relevant email that I received in the past week. Now, I've already bought a rain jacket from Land's End. They know that. And through DaVinci, they are running continual category exploration. The AI has decided that this is the next best content to send me. And it's right, because after this miserable summer, I've booked a family vacation to get some winter sun. And of course, I have left it until now to look for any summer clothes at all. So let me show you now how Land's End puts together an email that would have no place on your merchandisers' calendars, but makes total sense to me as an individual. Let's jump into DaVinci. So here we are. This is the DaVinci platform. This is where you'll land when you first log in. It's a campaign calendar. It lays out your recent and upcoming schedule. You can see that on Sunday, we send a campaign, and that we have another scheduled for a little later today after the event. DaVinci has a whole suite of tools for proofing, review, and approvals, and our campaigns for tomorrow are in that stage right now. They're being reviewed, and once they're approved, they'll be scheduled to send. But let's build a campaign together for this upcoming Friday, the 13th. So, as we jump into the campaign creation process here, you'll see that I'm going to be guided step by step through each piece of configuration I need to make to empower the AI to send this message. So, we're sending on Friday the 13th, but the first thing we have to determine is what time are we going to send that message. Now, I'm sure in this room everyone has a pretty good idea of what time of day is the best time to send, right? And you all probably think it's a different one. Maybe you have ideas of the best time of day to send for different groups. But I'm excited to share with you today send time personalization. This is a new innovation from DaVinci. With send time personalization, you can empower the AI to choose the best time to send for each individual customer. By default, that's set up to send across our full day. But with the theme of marketer in the machine, you can guide the AI on the windows in which you want it to personalize. Perhaps you don't want to get stuck in the clutter of the midday right? You want to keep this limited to just the morning and the evening. And it doesn't stop there. You could actually have multiple emails on the same day with overlapping send time personalization windows, and DaVinci will send the best message at their best time of day and their second best content at their second best time of day. So, all right, we know when this is going. The next step is, who is it going to? In DaVinci, we do that with audiences. All campaigns in DaVinci are pre-configured to use your most common targeting strategy. In this instance, it's all of our emailable customers. For today, I've pulled through some of Land's End's divisional preference audiences, and I'll show you why shortly. So we know when this is going, we know who it's going to. Now it's time for the what. What are we going to send to people? The first step I'm going to take here is selecting the template that I want to use. Templates in DaVinci are stacks of predefined HTML content blocks that the AI already understands. If you've ever received a retail email before, this probably looks fairly familiar. I've got my pre-header, I have my navigation bar, maybe I've got an abandoned cart. A little further down here, you'll see that I have these purple dynamic content blocks, my primary story and my secondary story. Those are the areas that we're going to give the AI the power to personalize for every customer. And we do that with experiences. So I come to set up my experience. This is how I'm going to configure all of the creative. On the left-hand side here, you'll see that I have my dynamic content blocks that are available for personalization. In the middle, all of those audiences you saw configured for the campaign earlier. And on the right-hand side here, I have access to Land's End's entire creative library. Now, in a traditional workflow, you may be presented with a situation like this, where you look at each of your target groups and you make a compromise on what you think is the best content overall for that entire group. Maybe for the women, I'd decide that the best thing right now is the rain-ready fleece, and I'd repeat this process, compromising at each step for each of my divisional preferences. But with DaVinci, you don't need to make that compromise. Instead, I can select all of my customers, and I can select all of my creative. And I'm just going to do that exact same process here for our second content block. And now I'm giving DaVinci's AI the power to choose from all of the creative that's pre-approved that will be available for use in the windows when this email launches. And it's going to determine the best piece of content for each individual. So the last step I'll configure today is our inbox experience. Now, of course, I can set a subject line that's the same for everybody. But given that I'm harnessing the power of AI to personalize this message for everyone, I want my inbox experience to reflect that. So Bryan mentioned earlier how all of our creative has multiple subject lines. And this is how I can tell the system to take advantage of that. I want our subject line to be powered by the content that I saw in the email. So I'm going to get that subject line about the shorts that you saw. Bryan's going to get a subject line about the rain jacket he needed for this trip. Okay. So in just a few minutes here, we've put together a campaign that uses the entire creative library that Land's End has available and will personalize for every individual in my entire customer database. At this point, I'm going to lock this campaign for proofing, and the system will go now and generate all the possible permutations of this email to get into the proofing and review stage. Now, that takes a few minutes. So instead, I'm going to jump back to our campaigns tab, and I'm going to show you a campaign from earlier this week. So this is a campaign that went through the exact same process that you already saw, except it's completed, the proofs are ready, and we can view them. So you can see that I generated 254,000 permutations of this email, and clearly the women's chinos were a big hit, going to most people. But if we scroll all the way down here to page 10,009, you can see that there are versions of this email that have gone out to just one person, one individual. So we have a really, really diverse campaign going out here. And if I drop my email address in here, we should be able to see, there we go, me and 126 other people receive the shorts. So that's it. That's the workflow for DaVinci, the latest AI innovation from Movable. Thank you very much.
So this is what we're building. We're building a platform that changes the way that omni-channel marketers run their omni-channel campaigns. It uses real-time data. It uses machine learning. And it, in theory, has infinite versions of content based on how much content you want to create. And so that is the future of marketing using the next generation of technology. And so I couldn't be more excited about this. And if anybody wants to connect Excited to meet with you and talk to you about Studio or DaVinci. Thank you. Have a great day.